Hello?
You sent me a hangout. What is it?
I didn't send that one. I was just rereading it. That was an old message from a while ago. I was rereading it. The hangout that you just got. You mean?
Oh, I didn't just get it. Come out a while back. It's on my calendar for a minute.
Oh, I don't remember. You have to see it.
What's tonight's hangout?
Ed Focus Chat.
But it's what is it? It's just a regular Ed focus check or planning meeting?
Regular Ed Focus. Well, we're doing something different tonight. We're doing a hangout instead of just a Twitter chat.
Is it hearing environment?
Yeah. Could you turn that light on, please? Thank you, ma'am. This thing's so dark.
Only way to support a dog like that if you probably rename everything.
I'll tell you what. He knows he was a single lunch a day, being before his white project just flew right out that window. I've never seen anybody throw so fast.
What are you doing?
All about the alliance between the skin.
Eric?
There's Kelly.
Okay, hi. Sorry, when you sent me on Twitter, I just got that one. I wasn't getting the other ones in my Gmail account, so I had to
Oh,
go.
and yeah, they weren't coming through your email. They were going through Google Plus, and I just realized that. So that's why I sent it to you through Twitter.
Thank you. Okay, I was getting a little making sure that we were all on the same page.
All good, all good.
How are you doing?
Doing good. How you doing tonight?
Doing good.
Cool. Well, I'm doing. You know what? I need to say that I'm doing pretty great. I just figured out what's been wrong with my laptop and my webcam doing Google Plus chats. Well, my success rate with Google Plus chats the last couple of weeks has been 0% successful. But I figured out what the problem was and solved it tonight. So I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, good. Thanks for solving that. I think it's trial and error sometimes, right?
I know. I got you. So it's 8:03. I'm hearing from people in the background now. So Bill Burkhead, he's another moderator. He can't join us tonight. He's starting a new job next year, and he's literally torn right now, so he won't be able to be there. And this is Stephen Weber. Do you know Stephen Weber here in North Carolina?
I know Stephen through his interaction with my husband, Matt, and he's been very good to me on Twitter as well. So I know Stephen through Twitter, yes.
He sent me a message right now through Google Plus. Let me see if I can get a message to him. He was just going to watch, but since Bill's not joining us, Kelly?
I'm Sarah. You here again?
Yeah. Hey, was that me or you?
I think it was you. You kind of froze up and then you came back on all of a sudden.
Sounds like me.
I don't know. I see. So essentially, we should be able to see the icons of the folks down here in our lower right-hand corner. Is that right?
Right. That's exactly right. Excuse me, give me 1 second. Let me send this message to Stephen. Where did Stephen send that? Oh, there it Hangouts. Yeah, I got it. Okay, there he is. So Bill won't be joining us. Just got Stephen. I think he's going to be kicking us in. He's going to be joining us pretty soon.
Okay.
And I haven't heard from John, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and commit without John.
Okay.
But he'll likely be joining us if he can.
Okay.
So while Stephen's kicking in, let's go ahead and officially get started. This is Ed Focus Chat's first Google Hangout, and we're excited to that our first chat is going to be with you, Kelly, in your new work on parent and school communities. Hey, Stephen.
Hey.
How's it going, sir?
Great.
Good. I was just telling Kelly, our official this is our first foray into Google Hangouts as part of our virtual chat experience with Ed Focus Chat. Our session is going to be recorded into my YouTube account. So glad you could be with us, Stephen. I got word from another interested party as well that he's going to be joining us pretty soon when he gets home and gets situated. 8 o'clock is that magic hour, so a lot of people on the road. We're going to follow just a pretty specific format, and you know, as we have our conversations, we just need to remember that that this is going to be recorded. And when people see us later on, they're going to be referencing our conversation to help as helpful points for them as they're building their school and parent partnerships and their community work throughout. So I'm anticipating a lot of great traffic for this particular talk tonight. Why don't we go around and introduce ourselves? I'm Derek McCoy. I'm a middle school principal here in North Carolina, Cumberland County School District.
Hi. Go ahead, David.
I'm Stephen Weaver. I'm an elementary principal at Hillsborough Elementary School. It's a year-round school in North Carolina.
Awesome.
And I'm Kelly Wachel. I am a public information officer for Central School District in South Kansas City.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. And Kelly's our featured expert / author tonight. She's just written a great new work where we've been fortunate enough to showcase it on our EdFocus chat. It's on parent and school partnerships. So again, we had a great Twitter chat last month, and tonight we're looking to extend this a bit and go into and just have a couple of have some minutes with some face-to-face time and engage on another level. So I got a couple of scheduled questions, but just like any conversation, we want to be organic, and if anybody has any follow-up points, then please make sure, or any questions, we'll get it that way. And I'm checking Twitter in the background to make sure that I can reach any questions that people are posting as well. Okay. So let's get started with just a simple question. Let's get started with our first question, which is, the topic of the importance of the critical partnership between schools and parents. We're all concerned. Our main impetus, everybody, is students learning and students growing. Kelly, if you don't mind, what are some of the critical linchpins in that partnership between schools and parents?
Well, one of the things that we really wanted to focus on when we were making sure that parents and students were really linked to the school was, of course, the relationship part and all of our staff and teachers, central office folks being invested in relationships. But once we got that part down and making sure that our schools were a great place for kids to be, we thought we need to go a little bit further, and we need to have kind of a roadmap, not just for how to be in school, but how to academically be in school. And we thought the academic part is the part that parents really need our help with the partnership on. And so we focused on helping parents and students know the academic track and the academic things to be focused on. And when the academics all kind of fall into place, the parents trust you, the kids trust you, and you can really make sure that your relationship's solidified by focusing on why you're in school, is to learn and to grow. And we wanted kids and parents to know how important the growth, the academic, the learning part was, that it's the most important part. And you have to get to that ultimate level to be successful.
Okay. So realizing some success is part of students and parts of students is a great way to build some of that trust and for people to see and be able to invest in their partnership. That's a great piece. We take for granted that parents automatically are going to be willing partners in working with schools, but that's not the case. They want to see some. They want to see some payoff. They want to see some evidence of the work from the educator's part as well.
That's true. I work in a school district in South Kansas City that has a high minority population, high free and reduced population, and the trust part is really essential. The relationship part is really essential because they're not going to come in and work with you and be avid partners with you if they don't believe that you're doing what's best for their child each day. And in order to do that, there's lots of things you have to do to build relationships, but on the very foundational level, getting to know students, getting to know the parents, getting to know neighborhoods, getting to know homes, going into homes, inviting parents into school for things that aren't just academic, but for other things, whether it's open houses, curriculum nights, things like that. You have to have that foundational relationship portion, and then you can go on to the academic portion.
Absolutely. So,
Stephen, are you okay over there?
hold on. I had to mute Stephen's mic. Let me try to unmute it. Steve, you're muted. Give me 1 second. Let's try that.
Hang on.
Okay, this is a new one for me. Wait, is that it? Hold on, Stephen. Hold on, man.
Stephen, hang on.
Okay. Maybe it just needs to reset because you're good to go now, man. I can't. I apologize. I can't hear you. Can you hear him?
No, I cannot hear him either.
Hey, Stephen, does it show you're muted on your end?
Can you hear me?
There you go.
Yay.
Probably muted. I was trying to find a charger. I was walking through the whole house looking for a charger, but now I'm charged. I'm ready to go.
Awesome.
But I think that the topic, I've read Kelly's book, and it's a great book. I recommend it. But I think that her situation in Kansas City is a lot different than Hillsborough, North Carolina. Our particular school, we have a lot of parent involvement already. And as you both know, we've started a school app this year. And that school app has been our way to connect with families and build relationships rather than having a piece of paper in a child's backpack. We've had, two-way communication through blogs. Now we've just started Twitter, and we've just opened up the channels. And I think, if anything, it's a perception issue that says, hey, we want feedback. We want to know how we're doing, versus just giving somebody our opinion on a piece of paper. And the perception with that is we don't care what you think. So we've tried coffee hours and other things, but we get a lot more feedback on the social media at our school than we do with the maybe 10 or 12 people come to coffee hour, the traditional donuts and coffee with parents.
That's such a great point, and leave it to Stephen. Stephen hits those awesome points head on. I was trying to pace out my great points, Stephen, but you put it all right there at once. So let's go ahead and hit that piece up. So in terms of developing that partnership, that communication is a big piece. We have to be willing to embrace new media. We have to be willing to reach out to parents where they are. I like to say our school district has an app, and that's great. And some of our parents are on Twitter, but the world is on Facebook. So you got to be willing to go where our parents are in order to get the message to them, and that's going to be a great bridge for communication as well. So Kelly, have you found that that new media, such as social media, or these apps, that their parents are more receptive, surprisingly more receptive to using new media to connect with schools?
Sure. I think, in particular, the parents who have incoming kindergartners and first grade and second graders, those younger parents are the ones who have grown up with Facebook and Twitter, and they're very comfortable with it, and they're already on it anyway. So why not, meet them there, like you said? I think what's important to know about social media is, yeah, Twitter is great and Facebook is great, and those are great avenues to do, I think, not only the important academic things, but also the fun things. We just took a picture of one of our principals of elementary school washing all of his staff's cars for Teacher Appreciation Week, and that got the most likes or retweets that we've had in a really long time. So it's those little things that parents like to see that they wouldn't otherwise see in our traditional ways of communication.
I certainly think it depends on the school, and Kelly writes a lot about that in her book. You have to know your school culture. An app might not work for every school.
Right.
And you still have to build relationships. You can't just go straight social media either. You still have to build relationships.
Yeah, you got to bridge that gap. But you just blew me away. That principal washed all the cars of the teachers. I'm tired just thinking about that.
Yeah, Tyler Shannon. Shannon49, I think is his Twitter handle. He's a good person to follow. But yeah, Mr. Shannon is a young go-getter, and he didn't know that one of his staff was secretly taking a picture of him washing one of the cars. But we got him on Twitter, we got him on Facebook, and it was one of our most liked posts in a long time. But I think what's important when we embrace the social media avenues is it's important to also take the good with the bad. And that means that when you invite that to a communication, you're going to get some comments sometimes that might be hard to answer or might be hard to, take. But those are important to hear too, because that's the point where your fellow community can kind of rally around you and support you. And you can have other parents kind of tag teaming to support your message and raise your message up even when you get the negative comments. And I think whether it's a corporation or a school, the people who do social media really well and who do communication really well are doing things to invite criticism sometimes and address those and have people help address the school, help the school address those issues and kind of be on your team and join your message and those kind of things. So it's a great two-way communication medium, and I think it's just going to have to be part of what we do with our schools. And but like Stephen said, you can't forget that some parents aren't there yet, or that you have to build relationships first, because you can't, like you said, go straight to social media. There's other things you do at the school level and at the central office level that support relationships and support communication besides social media.
So Stephen and I are two principals. He's an elementary school principal. I'm a middle school principal, and we have two different populations. Talk to us about the importance, or the again, and I keep saying critical, but there are a lot of critical linchpins here. Talk to us about the role of the principal. Talk to us about how we're in the forefront of bringing the community in, bringing the parents in, and establishing that we're an open environment, and we want everybody to come in and be part of our school.
I think the principals are almost one of the most important pieces for a system, for a school district. The principals are the first people that staff meets, that teachers meet, that the custodian meets, that the principals help hire. And I think the principals obviously set the culture for the buildings. And if you have a principal running just a fantastic school, that principal is going to be the face for that school and also representation of the district. So whether the principal is the first guest that someone who's going to enter your building and he or she is smiling and welcoming students and parents, whether they're interacting with teachers in a professional or appropriate way, interacting with, like I said, custodians, the people, everyone in a school contributes to that school's culture. And I believe it's the principal's job to help establish that culture. And the principals who do it really well seem to have a way of ensuring that everyone contributes meaningfully, everyone knows what the message is, everyone is in charge of making that school a welcoming place, and a safe place and an academic place and a loving place. And the principal really has a lot on his or her shoulders, but that's what principals do it for, is to ensure that they're making that culture in their school. And, you know, I think one of the best things that a central office team, superintendents, HR, curriculum people, one of the best things they can do is support principals and help principals in that role. I think principals have one of the hardest jobs in education, and it's their responsibility to create that culture.
I think you wrote a little bit about it in the book. I know Eric Scheninger did too in his new book about digital leadership. But too often we allow other people to share our message. So other people have Facebook and Twitter, and our message is out there. You know, we can own the message and control it a little more if we're intentional, like we are in other parts of leadership. But a lot of principals, as you said earlier, are afraid what somebody may post. So that fear means they're going to rely on a piece of paper, and you can't multiply your message as fast because Johnny might not even get the piece of paper home.
That's
and then
right.
Nobody photocopies and then sends it to Grandma in Texas. You know, but with social media, Grandma gets it at the same time Mom and Dad get it, and it goes home before Johnny ever gets off the bus. So social media is really, we've got to own our own message, and I know that's what you do for a living, but a lot of principals probably need training in that area. So maybe what tip or tips do you have for principals who have no background in communication like what you do for your district?
Yeah, I think my message is go for it and embrace it. In order to do that, though, you have to be, I think, comfortable with yourself. You have to be comfortable with your school and your staff. You have to, like you said, you have to own yourself, and you have to be comfortable. You have to know what your message is, first of all. What is your message? And are you communicating that message on a piece of paper, or are you communicating that message on phone calls to your parents? But once you know what your message is, you're comfortable with yourself, I think that's when you can start branching out and trying new things, whether it's social media or a Google Hangout or whatever it may be. I think that principals need to understand that the future is here, and that brave new world that we talk about that we know nothing about, we can start embracing that a little bit by trying new things. I'm not saying Twitter or Facebook is the answer, but I think the answer is being willing to accept criticism, accept change, try new things, and always knowing what your message is. And I think my advice always to principals or teachers or whoever it may be is, pick kind of your 3 main lines that you always are going to stick with and talk about. And whenever you're talking to a parent or a student or a potential new family or another principal or another school district, have those 3 main messages kind of run down in your head every time, and always have those 3 messages available. So if it's, my school, we are great in literacy. Our reading scores are always in the top 5% of the state. Talk about reading, maybe talk about, hey, our PTA is one of the most evolved PTAs in the state. And by the way, our kids have read over 30 million words this year alone. Have some 3 main things that really focus on what your school is about, and have this kind of in your pocket to talk about at all times.
That's great advice for principals.
That's just simple and superb, and it's one of those things that we take for granted. Is that I was talking to somebody the other day when I was in my master's program. They went over, when I went over my ed leadership program some years ago, they went over some things, whatever. It doesn't matter. But that was 10 years ago. How different is the world now 10 years from 10 years ago, 5 years ago? And then even our new leaders that are coming out, the people who are training our new school leaders, what are they training them on?
Right.
So that's just more continued work on all of our parts, with us growing new leaders and growing with our growing new awarenesses ourselves. We got to keep all those things in mind. Those are awesome points. And to go back to something that you mentioned earlier, Stephen, if we don't tell our story, somebody else will.
Oh yeah. They already are.
They already are. and they're going to tell the story their way, however it works. So it's just something that we have to embrace, and that's going to be part of our makeup. It's going to be part of school leadership DNA from here on. So in addition to budgets, we got to learn to communicate and tell our stories the right way, because we got to promote our brand.
I haven't tried a Twitter chat or a Google Hangout with parents yet, but I'm gonna do it before. I'm gonna do it for the end of this school year. So I got about 5 weeks left. So you guys hold me accountable. I'm gonna do it. I don't care if we have 3 people.
So when you said that earlier, you actually got me to thinking about that. That would be so cool. This could be you know how, well, I haven't done it at this school, but we used to do like roundtables, just invite the parents in and talk about whatever, however it works. But imagine if you did this with your parents one night, because I don't know about you, it's not even about a computer. I do my best Google Hangouts on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So just view it and hit it up that way. That'd be great stuff.
I'm doing it.
Well,
I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm doing it, because you can be at gymnastics or Little League practice, and you can participate, but you can't come to the PTA and be at gymnastics.
Right.
That's great. That's great. And I think one of the things, too, something to remember if you're going to try that, maybe pick a select group to start with that you invite to participate. Like you would maybe any other meeting, but pick that select group and kind of talk to them beforehand about what you want to, topics you want to visit about, and then
maybe a grade level.
That's a good idea too. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think a grade level would make it more focused.
Sure.
I mean, probably the easiest one for me is rising middle schoolers and talking about middle school transition, since I used to be a secondary director. And that's a topic that's hot if you've got for your oldest child and you don't know what middle school's about.
So Stephen, so all your parents can view the video link itself, so that's the viewers. But imagine one of your participants was the middle school principal.
Oh yeah, I like that.
That is awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
This is tremendous. This is great. Yeah.
Well, we all do Twitter chats all the time, weekly. So, that now that we have school Twitter, it's going to be easier. Our district wasn't really big on Twitter for until recently, until about 2 weeks ago. They were more of a Facebook district. So I've been begging them, and so now we can do that. I didn't feel comfortable just going rogue and starting my own account.
But that's awesome. But the fact that they're Facebook, that they were on Facebook, that says a lot right there. There are a lot of districts that are afraid of districts and educators that are afraid of Facebook. But the world is on Facebook. I'm a great advocate of Twitter, but I know the world is on Facebook, so that's where we are.
And something to remember with that, Derek and Stephen too. I think that the ones who might be afraid to jump into those avenues, they really do fear kind of the unknown. And I think if it's principals or administrators who are afraid of it, if they can kind of just get on themselves and experiment with their own personal account for a little bit, kind of lurk and just look about, the comfort level rises as people learn a little bit more about the products that they're using. So it's important that I always tell people trying to just experiment a little bit, don't do anything, just kind of look at it, explore a little bit, and then again, you're going to get some criticism and harsh feedback sometimes, but that's when your supporters really rally around you, and it also is a chance to highlight your brand and image a little bit more. And when your Facebook and Twitter accounts highlight your brand and image and what your message is, those things naturally kind of overtake some of the negative that can happen sometimes. Excellent.
Being proactive and telling that story. That's great. Kelly, let me ask you this question. And we're hitting some great points right now. We talk about some innovative ways to get parents involved and engaged. But let's talk about partnerships in another sense of the word. What about bringing in community? And I know your work is on the parents in the schools, but what about the the business partnerships in the schools. What have you seen are some strategies in getting them involved? What have you seen some strategies in making them an integral part of the school's success?
That's a good question. Sometimes I think people think that having business partners or businesses or guests come into your building might be just the extra tedious stuff that is just extra work. And in my view, it is extra work, but it's always the little extra things that help separate good districts from maybe the not so good districts. And in my view, inviting businesses into your school for a business luncheon, mentors, all those kind of things help students see what professional people are like. And I think that when students see professional people, they have a goal. They have something they can look forward to becoming. And business luncheons, inviting businesses, have students speak in front of them, have the business folks speak in front of the students. It's really showing kids an example of what they need to be when they grow up. And mentors are important. People coming in and taking an hour a week to have lunch with a student, to do some tutoring, to play on the playground, whatever it might be. Our kids need to see, especially in our school, our kids need to see examples of professional people, people who have gone through college. It's really important that our kids have that example. So if a CEO, we have some big companies in Kansas City, so if a CEO from a company comes for a school as a guest and presents some sort of topic to our kids, it's good for the CEO to see what he or she is going to be working with in the next 10, 15 years. It's good for our kids to see the CEO of a company and what he or she does on a daily basis.
I have a question. I have two questions. Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Were you finished, Kelly?
Go ahead, yeah.
I had to go get the book. You said, be aware of what your school sounds like, and I highlighted that. That was one of my favorite quotes in the book. So can you talk about what that means, be aware of what your school sounds like?
Yeah, so Stephen, when you walk into your building, what does your building sound like in the morning? What does it sound like at lunch? What does it sound like after school? What does it sound like during classroom time? Tell me a little bit about what your school sounds like.
There's a good, healthy buzz in the classrooms, a lot of hands-on project-based learning and a lot of movement, one-to-one laptops in grades 3 through 5, so a lot of collaboration. What we like to see, and it's an emphasis, is on the 4 C's: critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and communication. So that's what you see in our classrooms. Different kind of buzz in the lunchroom and at recess, but definitely think you see a buzz in the classrooms related around collaborative learning more so than when I was in school and each student sat at their own desk.
That's a perfect example. Yeah, I love walking into a classroom and all kids are on their computers, but they're talking to their partner about what they're working on, and the teachers sit next to a group talking about what that group's working on. That's a great example. When it's a passing period, are kids squirreling around and yelling down the halls, or are they quietly, moving through their day and visiting with other kids, visiting with teachers? One of our schools, at one point, it was an elementary school, had their lunch periods where they asked the students to sit silently. And that might be seen as a really negative thing, like you want kids to talk at lunch and you want kids to kind of get their energy out and have conversation and be social, but it was one of our schools that had one of the highest levels of free and reduced lunch population. So that was a time when kids actually got to eat their balanced nutritional meal, and so the principal and staff really wanted the kids to focus on eating during that time. So there's going to be different situations and different levels of noise that accompany those situations, but I think being aware of what your school sounds like is important because the buzz or lack thereof will be appropriate or not appropriate for certain situations. And especially when guests enter your building, whether it's a business person, whether it's a parent, whether it's someone from the community, knowing or seeing what you're walking into a school and hearing what that school sounds like is a big reflection to what they form in their head as their opinion of that school. Again, it's an image thing, it's a brand thing. What does your school sound like when guests are entering your building?
Yeah, I love that. Or a substitute teacher. If a principal wanted to know,
Right.
he could probably ask people.
That's
My,
right.
my other favorite quote is from chapter 3, and you just alluded to it. What do people think about your school district's brand or your school's brand? And this is something I've really focused on at our school, and it's been something I've had to learn because in none of my graduate school did I ever learn about branding. That seems more like marketing or more like a public information officer. So
Hmm.
it's new for principals, and social media makes it easier. But if you could share with people who watch this recorded online your thoughts on branding.
Well, what you just said, Stephen, is that you don't have a degree in marketing or PR or public information, but you have a degree in education to be a principal. You probably have an advanced degree. What's important for those marketing and PR types to do, if they're doing their job right, they help everyone in the organization, everyone in the school own that brand and own that message. And if we can teach you that, you don't have to have necessarily a degree in marketing or branding, but if your degree is in owning your message, learning what you want your top 3 messages to be, always talking about those messages in a positive way, and not being afraid to try new things, showing that you're a learning school, you're a growing school, you're an academic school. My tip would be um, you can own your message. And owning your message is lots of different things, from your newsletters, the way you talk to parents, the way you talk to students, the way you talk to your teachers, the way your teachers move in your school, the way your teachers talk to parents. Um, my daughter has been in kindergarten this year, so it's been our first formal entry into public education with our own child. And it's been interesting to have interaction with a teacher as a parent. And it reinforces even more so the teachers are some of the best links to your parents. Whether they email parents every week, whether they call them, whether they send newsletters home, those teachers are going to be some of your best ambassadors in working with parents and spreading your message. I'm kind of talking a lot here. Am I making any sense?
No, you're the author. We're not supposed to talk.
Oh, yes. No, that's about getting input and feedback.
Thank you. That's
So,
great. So you wrote about this. Eric Schenninger once again wrote about it. There are becoming more books for principals on this topic. So the help books are starting to be available. But 5 years ago, nobody talked about branding their school. I mean, you were talking about being a curriculum leader, being um, an advocate to families, being a supporter to the kids who are struggling, the kids who are 2 years behind. But this topic is fairly new for principals, in my opinion. I've read a lot of books. I think this is new in our literature.
yeah, I think that sometimes the PR folks kind of in the state of Missouri and kind of in our area, in the Kansas City area, we talk a lot about, sometimes we're seeing sometimes this war on public education, and that public education is getting attacked in certain ways. And in my view, it's more essential than ever that we start paying attention to what public education's brand is in general. And it
Yes.
starts at the school level. And if we can, at the school level, begin to focus on brand and image and how important that is to affecting the whole system nationwide, I think we'll start to get it a little bit more. And you have really great districts who do a good job with it, and you have districts, like you said, who might not think about it. And so, in my view, the goal is that you have schools and districts thinking about branding and imaging and how important it is, not only to your school, to the broader education community. And it's our duty to really start thinking about that, because there are concerns out there uh, how public education is perceived, and we have to help further the stellar image and brand that public schools are. It's our responsibility to help share the positive message.
And you guys mentioned earlier that sometimes the message is not always positive, but one thing that we're discovering is that leaders is it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. When we're telling our story, we can at least be honest and that's the best that we can do in every situation, is make sure that we're being honest and upfront with everybody. I think about my school. We have a lot of great successes, but then we have some things that we have to work through. Throughout it all, the only thing I can guarantee is that whatever happens is, here's the truth, and here's what happened. We can smile about most of it, but we're going to always work through whatever issues are in front of us. And I think that promoting that brand honestly, promoting that brand through using our digital media, that helps establish that relationship with those parents, and they can, when we communicate with them, they'll help them make that choice about investing in our school and being with us as we make this journey to help educate their kids. So that's a great piece. The brand promotion is brand new. It's brand new. It's where we are right now, though, as leaders, and we can't do enough of it. We can't know enough about it.
And that's one of the things when you said, to be honest, the best brands, if you think about brands in the corporate world or products that you really respect and that you use, you think about the really authentic brands, and authenticity is something that you can't buy, you can't fake. It's something that is who you are. And schools have this great inherent authenticity, I think, and we so don't tap that enough, because what our product is kids, it's teachers, it's principals, it's parents, it's community, and it's people who are in your community. And that is one of the most authentic, inherent, honest brands that you can help promote. And we just don't think about that enough.
When I became a principal at an elementary school, I went on Twitter and asked a bunch of elementary principals, where can I find some framed posters? I want some motivational quotes like corporate people have, but I want them for elementary schools. And everybody I talked to said, don't do that. It'll be a waste of your money. They said, go around, take pictures of your students, and then frame pictures of your students up and down the hallway, because that's your school and your story. And that's been the best move we ever made. And we saved probably hundreds of dollars on not buying corporate posters with a quote that is somebody else's brand.
I love that, Stephen. That's awesome. And I think people don't think about that enough. We were redoing our website for our district, and they had stock photos on it. And my thought was, well, why aren't we taking professional, photos of our students and using those on our website? That seems natural to me. Why aren't we, in our volunteer program where we, ask for mentors, why aren't we using our own kids in those photos? That's a great point, Stephen, because we really don't use, I think, our product enough. Our product are our kids, and they are the most awesome product that we can help promote. And we do it naturally by talking about, Johnny won the spelling bee, or so-and-so got a 36 on the ACT, but we don't promote the images, the product enough, just for kids being kids.
And I'm gonna toot his horn, even though Stephen's not doing it. Stephen, he contacted somebody in his district, and they produced this incredible infographic for his school. He shared it with me a while ago, and I swear it's one of those things that I'm going to steal and do myself. So you're talking about promoting that brand and then putting it out there so the parents can see, this is what our school's about. Here's a bunch of positives. I just can't think of, there's not too many things that are better than that. Steve, what did you want to do with that infographic? Is it in your school being displayed?
Well, thank you for the shout out. We put it on the school app, so you can download it on Hillsborough Elementary School on the school app in the App Store, and it's free. And we also put it on Twitter, so if you go to @HESSplash, you can.
And that's a cliffhanger. How about that?
Yeah, and we lost him. Let's bring him back.
Yeah, he shared it with me a while ago, and I told him I want to see who can make an infographic in my district, but I'm telling you, I could just see easily making that into something 6 feet tall, and
Hmm.
as soon as you open the door, it'll be right there, and you'll see everything about my school. So I'm going to steal that idea and put that in place. You better believe that's a great one.
My husband at Matt Wachel just put up on his phone the infographic right here. Can you
Wait,
guys?
say that one more
My
time.
my husband just brought up on his phone and he just relayed it to me. It's right here. You probably can't see it, but Steven, are you there?
Yeah, sorry about that. I had a lot of great stuff to say, and then I realized I was talking to myself.
My husband at Matt Wachel just brought me in his phone with your awesome infographic on it.
Yeah, where's Matt? Put him on the screen.
Well, he would, but he's taking care of my 6, 4, and 2-year-old, making sure they're going to bed right
All
now.
right.
He has an important job right now.
You got a way important job. You better believe.
That's right.
Well, guys, we're hitting up on that 45-minute mark, and I want to respect our time. Let me give you guys, if you guys want to have a couple wrap-up comments, then I'll wrap this thing up tonight. Stephen, you got any parting thoughts for us?
I love the book. It's helpful to me as an administrator. It's given me a lot of ideas, including the branding and what's my school sound like. And I think this was fun. It's first I've done Twitter chats. I've never done a Google Hangout chat, so I hope to do more. And I am going to do this with my parents, either with Google or on Twitter. And it was nice to meet you face to face, Kelly.
You as well, sir. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for reading the book. I'm glad that you got at least a couple of tips out of it that makes me feel good. And good luck. I hope that everything else continues to work out, and if you need anything else, let me know. I'll be happy to help if I can in any way.
Thank you so much. I do think a lot of principals are a little reluctant in the area of, branding their school. And even I've run into this some people from other schools or even your own teachers will say, well, you're just bragging or you're just constantly pumping up the school. And it's kind of your job. But since it's never been the principal's job to be a branding or a brander, I think you'll run into people maybe that think you're not doing the job you should be doing. So there are barriers to breaking out and trying these new things. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try it.
That's right. It's about growth, right?
It is, but there will certainly be people who think, well, he spends all day doing that, why doesn't he do his real job? And the reality is, Twitter takes 140 characters. It doesn't take that much of your day.
Well, and like I said, sometimes it's those little things that mean more to parents and community type folks. We know that principals have a hard job and do lots of jobs, and of course they're doing their daily jobs, but it's always little extra things that show people the little, that much more that you care about how you're perceived, how your school is perceived, and it's important.
And I think that this is all going towards newer dimensions of the job, of the principal job, that we realize are important now. We're making new realizations as far as things that principals need to do to be more successful, more impactful. So like you're saying, Stephen, branding is an important part of all of our jobs. And if we're not, then we're neglecting an important aspect of our job, because if we're not telling that story, somebody else is going to tell that story, and that's an ownership piece that we've got to embrace. Kelly, I want to just truly thank you again for just your partnership with Ed Focus Chat. The Twitter chat was super fantastic, awesome. This archive video chat is going to serve a great purpose, and I can't wait to post this. This I've been telling you, this is a brand new one for us as well. So you're going to be the first video chat that we post on our blog site and that we tweet out, and we definitely want people to see and know the value of your great book. I want to encourage everybody again to purchase your book. And to reach out to you on Twitter. That's one thing that I really like about you, is how accessible you are on Twitter. So, you know, Ed Focus Chat is committed to connecting educators with experts, but you do a great job of that. You do a great job of that by yourself. So thanks so much for being that great expert and author.
Well, I appreciate that, Derek. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for promoting the book. And Ed Focus Chat's been a great friend to me, and I certainly appreciate that. I'm happy to help in any way possible, and let's do it again. I think it's been a successful first go at it, and like I said, about trying new things and learning and growing. And I appreciate you. I appreciate Stephen joining, Ed Focus Chat being our first official GHO Google Hangout, and let's see how we can get it out there. And remember, it takes parents and schools together.
Awesome. Great wrap up. Well, you guys, you're gonna have a great one. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week and a great end of the school year. How about that?
Thank you.
Thank you.